Hi everyone, welcome to ABC Interactive English. I am Karen.
Hello everybody, I am Shane. Curiosity will change your life. This is part 2.
That's right. And speaking of curiosity, my daughter right now, she's 6 years old. And she's getting to that age where she's asking so many questions. A lot of why?
Well, isn't that good? I mean, because she wants to know about this world, and the more questions that she asks, the more intelligent she will become. The more intelligent she becomes, she'll probably get a really good job. She will make a lot of money, and then she can give it to you.
Oh, then that's good.
Rich, right?
You're right, but just some of the questions are even really, really difficult for me to answer. For example, why is the sky blue? She asked me the other day, and I just it's hard for me to explain. How do you explain that?
Well, actually, the sky is blue. It has to do with the frequency of light waves. So a red light wave is actually quite short, and a blue wave is quite long. You don't seem like you're really paying attention to this.
I try to follow. But how about this? I think you're really good at explaining these facts. I have an idea. Instead of me trying to understand this, maybe you can babysit my daughter. Hey, are you free this weekend?
How much money does it pay?
I wasn't gonna pay you anything.
So you want to hire me as a babysitter, but you don't want to pay me any money?
Okay, 100 NT. How about 100 NT? And then you can explain all these fun facts to my daughter to inspire the young minds, and that's really meaningful. Thanks, Shane.
This weekend?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, I have a doctor's appointment the whole weekend. Sorry, I can't do it.
Shane.
Why don't we learn more about this?
When you are curious, your mind is active. It is making questions, finding answers, and trying to learn things. Because of that, your mind becomes stronger.
So we're looking at part 2 of curiosity will change your life. And that's definitely true, right?
Absolutely.
And you said that you are a very curious person, and you have always been a very curious person.
Yeah, I think especially when somebody tells me to do something, I feel like I want to know why. I want to understand what's the reason that I need to do this thing. Why don't you do it?
I think a lot of people who are curious, they always ask questions. But when I was younger, I went to school in Taiwan. And in elementary school. I remember I was very quiet. I didn't like to ask questions. And I remember a lot of the classmates were the same way. But when I moved to Canada, I noticed that a lot of kids were always raising their hands and asking questions, and then asking the teachers to explain this and explain that. That was like a very big difference. And then that's when I started to change, and that's when I started to ask questions.
Yeah, because you said when you were young you were quite shy, and then as you got older you became a little bit more outgoing. Maybe naturally you're quite curious and want to ask questions. And that's the true Karen.
Exactly. Maybe I was too shy or too scared to speak up, right? Okay, so let's go into today's article. When you are curious, your mind is active.
Okay, so your mind is active.
That's right.
So the mind is not really a thing that you can touch, right? So we have a brain.
That's right.
Right? And when your brain thinks about something and you become aware of that, like, ooh, it's cold in here. That is happening in your mind.
That's
so the
right.
mind is not really something you can touch, but it is a thing. It's a noun. We know what it is. It's it's like thinking about things.
That's right. And it's like your mind is active. So active is our next vocabulary word, and that is an adjective. So when you say active, that means it's something that's maybe physically moving, or it could be like energy too. Oh, for example, I could say that you are a very active person. You like to go out, go hiking. You like to do different kind of activities. But when you say your mind is very active, that means your mind is thinking, it's working, it's processing some information, right?
Right, you're not just 放空.
Exactly. You are actually thinking about something. That's when your mind is very active.
Yes, I think you have a beautiful mind.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think active and curious minds are very beautiful, right? Because I think that's what a mind should do. It should be working and be active. Let's continue. It is making questions, finding answers, and trying to learn things. That's what minds do. They're really thinking about things, asking questions.
That's when it's really, really active, right? Learning things and thinking about things.
Because of that, your mind becomes stronger.
And we have this word, become, and that is a verb. To become something, it just means to turn into, to change into something, right? So maybe before your mind is not very strong, but after all the thoughts, all the thinking, and now it becomes stronger, right?
Right. If you exercise a lot, your muscles will become stronger, right?
Exactly.
If you think a lot and you are curious about things, your mind will become stronger. I think your mind and your brain, it's like a muscle.
Exactly.
It can become stronger if you exercise it.
Definitely. And you can also, another example sentence is, I want to become a teacher when I grow up.
So that means you're not a teacher now, but you will change into a teacher. One day you will become a teacher.
That's right. So maybe because I want to share my knowledge with the students who are asking a lot of questions, right?
Yes. Okay, why don't we take a little bit of a break and we will see you soon.
All right.
You also see the world in different ways when you are curious. Old toys become new toys. Boring things become interesting things. Also, impossible things become possible. It's never too late to be curious. So, keep your mind open, don't just accept things, and ask a lot of questions. Curiosity will change your life.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
So we're still talking about curiosity, right? And how important it is to be curious about things, right?
Right. So I'm curious to see what's next.
Okay, let me tell you. You also see the world in different ways when you are curious, and that is definitely true. Because maybe after learning or after asking a lot of questions, before you might look at the world this way, now you have another way to look at it, right?
Yeah, if you don't ask questions and you're not curious, then you just keep thinking the same thing.
Exactly.
You don't get any new ideas, and once you know more about something, you really are, of course, you will see it in a different way.
It might change your idea about something.
Right.
Okay.
Old toys become new toys.
Wow. So if you're looking at something from a different way, before you might think, oh, this is an old toy. I'm so tired of making or playing with it. Yes.
I got it. You know, there's like a toy called a transformer.
Oh, that's right.
Right? And this transformer, it can be a robot or it can be something like a car or a truck. So if you saw this toy here, but you didn't know it was a transformer, it looks like a car, you'll play with it like a car. But if you're really thinking, this moves, I wonder why. And you start to explore, and then you ask, this can move, why is it? Then this person knows, oh, let me tell you. If you do this and do this, now it can become a robot.
And that's a new way of playing with it.
Now you have a new toy. It's like you have two toys.
Exactly. So you really have to get creative, right?
Right.
And ask questions. Boring things become interesting things. Okay, so something you might find a little bit boring, and that is our next vocabulary word, and that is an adjective. Boring just means like when you look at something, maybe a toy is really boring, you just don't find it fun. Or maybe a movie is very boring. You're like, oh, I have to sit through this whole movie. I don't find it interesting at all. It's not fun.
Right.
I don't want to sit through the whole movie.
So that's the opposite,
boring.
right?
That's
boring
right.
versus interesting.
That's right.
So something is interesting, that means that you are curious about it, you like it, you feel like you want to know more and more about this thing.
Or like it's really, really fun, right?
Yes.
But oftentimes people get bored and boring, they mix these words up.
Right.
Bored is a kind of feeling that a person can have. So for example, you're sitting in the room, you're not doing anything, you can say, oh, I feel so bored because there's nothing to do.
Right.
But boring, you're describing maybe like a thing is so boring, the game is so boring, the movie is so boring. So
Right.
if you say, I'm so boring, people might think, then you're a boring person?
Yes, right. So what
Like you're
you
not
want
a fun
to say,
person
of
to
course,
play with.
what you want to say is, I'm bored.
That's right.
Because if you say, I'm boring, people will think, oh, really? Then I don't want to be your friend. I don't like boring people.
You're not fun to be around, right?
So you have interesting. So then what does interested mean? So if something is interesting, that means that you really like it. But if I say, I am interested in something, what does that mean?
When you're interested in something, that means you want to learn more about that thing.
Right.
So for example, I'm interested in tennis.
Right.
That means I want to learn how to play tennis. I'm
Right.
curious.
Exactly. So it kind of has this feeling of being curious about something if you're interested in doing something.
Exactly.
Okay, continuing. Also, impossible things become possible.
And that brings us to our next vocabulary word, impossible. And that is an adjective. When you describe something as impossible, that means you think this one will not be able, it cannot be done. Nothing, this is not going to happen.
Right? It's not possible.
Exactly.
So if something is possible, that means you can do it or it can be done.
Exactly. So I could say that it's impossible to predict the future, to know what the future holds, to know what's going to happen in the future. It's impossible to know, right? No one has the crystal ball, right?
That's true, though. So once you're curious about something and you ask questions and you find out things, maybe at first something seems like you'll never be able to do it. It's not possible to do this. It could be like learning a language or something, right? At the beginning, you feel like this is impossible. But if you're curious and you start asking questions, then you will start to learn more and more, and you will realize, oh, actually, I can learn English.
Actually, it's possible.
But you need some curiosity, right?
That's right, and that is why it's never too late to be curious. So keep your mind open. Don't just accept things and ask a lot of questions. So when I say keep your mind open, that means try to accept different ideas. Don't just say no to things right away, right?
Yeah.
Have an open mind. Try to get different ideas in your head before you make up your mind.
Right. Curiosity will change your life.
And for sure,
Yeah,
right?
and I think that's what we really did learn about this lesson, is that curiosity is a good thing. If your parents or teacher tell you, oh, stop asking so many questions, I don't think that's a good thing. I think we should encourage people to ask more questions. That's how we learn.
Exactly.
And that's how it will change the world and change our life.
And that's all the time we have for today, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
When you are curious, your mind is active. It is making questions, finding answers, and trying to learn things. Because of that, your mind becomes stronger. You also see the world in different ways when you are curious. Old toys become new toys. Boring things become interesting things. Also, impossible things become possible. It's never too late to be curious. So, keep your mind open, don't just accept things, and ask a lot of questions. Curiosity will change your life.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看一下这一课的重点单字。第一个 mind 名词，头脑、心智。A lot of thoughts ran through my mind. 很多想法在我的脑海中闪过。Run through 在这里指的是跑过、闪过。下一个单字 become 动词，变成、成为。它的三态是 become, became, become.Ellison became the first Asian astronaut to fly in space. Ellison 成为了第一个在太空飞行的亚裔太空人。Astronaut 名词，太空人。下一个单字 boring 形容词，无趣的，令人无聊的。The movie was boring. I fell asleep several times while watching it. 那部电影很无聊，我在观看的时候睡着了好几次。最后一个单字 possible 形容词，有可能的。Is it possible to see the doctor online? 有可能透过网络视讯让那位医师看诊吗？ Online 是指副词，在线上的，在网络上的。接着我们来看一下这一课的文法。第一个 because of 加上名词，因为、由于。Because of 是一个介系词片语。我们来看看以下这个例句 ：The flight was cancelled because of the weather. 因为天气因素，航班被取消了。下一个文法 ，in a different way， 以不同的方式。Different 是形容词，意思是不同的、不一样的。Way 是可数名词，表示方法、方式。我们来看看下面这个句子
What did you think of the movie yesterday?
Oh, I love that director. He sees things in a different way.
Yeah, he's very special and unique. He has his own style.
最后一个文法 keep 加名词加形容词，让某人或者是某事物保持一个状态。Keep 是动词，保持的意思，它的三态是 keep, kept, kept。我们来看看下面这个句子 ：Please close the door to keep the room warm. 请关门，让房间保持温暖。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，回去记得复习哦。我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Hey everyone, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Toi.
And today we're playing a game called Word Drop, where we each have 3 cards with words or phrases on them, and we get to work in a conversation as casually as possible. So, are you ready?
Yep, and I'll start.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's see. So, whenever I watch movies, I love eating popcorn. I love watching them with friends. Some of my favorite movies are the Marvel movies with all the superheroes and the Avengers. And actually last night I was watching Doctor Strange with my fiance, and Doctor Strange 2 just came out, so it's really like trying to prep for the new one. But it was really cool watching Dr. Stephen Strange really use, he's such a smart doctor, but he's so arrogant, but he's really good at using his mind.
Oh, I actually haven't watched the movie, but you made me sound like you make it sound really exciting, so I think I would like to. And I think things like that, like these movies with superheroes and like fantasy worlds and stuff like that, I think it's very exciting because it kind of gives us an idea of like what could possibly be, right? Like what is a world, like a possible world we could have?
Yeah, these fantasy worlds are really extreme sometimes. Like the creators of the Marvel universe have gone to great lengths creating a multiverse and different scenarios. And so you know that these movies will never be boring.
Oh yeah, and especially boring movies, right? Who wants to watch those? But Marvel movies, yeah, are usually like very action-packed, very like explosions and things like that, right? So it's very, I guess, usually exciting for most people, right? There's some people who don't like it, but most do. And I think, yeah, I would say that this type of, the Marvel movies started off small, right? But then they became really big.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this new phase. Currently, they've already started the phase 4 after the end game and the big battles with Thanos. And so, you know, these movies are going to continue and have a long history and continue to grow the multiverse. So you know that these movies will never be canceled because of their lack of entertainment. Like, they will always be very entertaining and have a following.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm excited to see that because of course they can't do just the same type of movie over and over again. So I'm also excited that maybe in the future they will try to tell the stories in a different way.
Yeah, I think they have with some of the new ones, such as like
See you next time.